Legislator Melissa Hortman and her husband, and wounding a state senator and his wife, also targeted several other officials. CBS's Anna Schechter.
When it comes to motive, we look at those targeted. They were all Democrats. That the prosecutors are going to take into account. They're also going to be searching through his internet searches, his online activity.
Officials say Belter had notebooks detailing his plans and potential targets. The doctor who supplied Friends star Matthew Perry with the drug flagged in his overdose death will plead guilty.
Federal prosecutors say Dr. Salvador Plasencia repeatedly injected Perry with ketamine and taught Perry's assistant how to do it. Perry was prescribed legal amounts of ketamine to treat his depression, but wanted more of it. In text messages with another doctor, Plasencia allegedly called Perry a moron and wondered how much he would be willing to pay for the drugs. Perry was found dead in his hot tub in October 2023. Plasencia will plead guilty to 4 counts of distributing ketamine. He could face up to 40 years in prison. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
Death tolls up to 6 from severe flooding in West Virginia. Many homes in Fairmont were damaged or destroyed. Casey Gilbert is with United Way.
It's been great to see people wanting to help out, wanting to give so freely. We appreciate everybody wanting to help support, and I'm sure there will be more needs in the next few days with cleaning up, getting people settled.
This is CBS News.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Find what you love and love what you find at Total Wine and More. There's so much waiting for you.
With the lowest prices for over 30 years, find what you love only at Total Wine & More. Drink responsibly, B21.
Right now, get a $15 gift card after rebate with the purchase of select AC Pro refrigerant products at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Here at the Almond Joy Factory, where tropical vibes abound, we use soft, fresh-tasting coconut.
The crunchiest almonds and delicious chocolate candy.
Ah, but do you know what our most important ingredient is? Sometimes you feel like a nut.
Sometimes you don't.
Almond Joy's got nuts and something even way better than that. Yes, Almond Joy is made with almonds and joy.
We're the Good Neighbor Network, FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna, audio and video streaming at wgnsradio.com. This is the Roundtable. A look at the news, views, politics, and people that are shaping Rutherford County.
And good morning and welcome to the Tuesday morning edition of the Roundtable here on WGNS with your host, Rick and Wayne. This morning, Brother Rick is at another venue, so he's not going to be with us, so we'll try to work through the program without him. We certainly miss his input and hope he's enjoying his day where he is. This morning, it's our pleasure to have Mr. James Evans, who is the Chief Communications Officer for the Rutherford County School System. And Mr. Evans, pleasure to have you, and fortunately we didn't get wet coming in this morning. I think we're about 20 inches above normal presently.
Absolutely. I'm watching the forecast here as we're doing this, and it looks like it's about to hit, so we'll probably be hearing some thunder and lightning any moment now.
Probably so. I just the thing that scares me is that I'm glad the water table's coming up, but it makes me worry about what's the end of July and August and September is going to bring with it being so wet right now.
Well, so I think that I brought this rain on because I installed a new retractable garden hose this year on the side of my house to keep the garden watered easier, and I haven't had to use it one time because it rains so often. But we are starting to get tomatoes already. So
well, there you go.
It's incredible.
Yeah. Hey, glad to have you this morning. Of course, you and I go back to early 2000s when I was running for the school board, and you came on board to be the PIO for the school system, and certainly have enjoyed our friendship over the years, and especially when I was on the school board, just needed your expertise so often, and so thank you for all you do for our children throughout the system.
Yeah, I've come a long way, really. I started in my late 20s, didn't know what I didn't know, so I was pretty clueless back then. I'm getting ready to start my 22nd year with the school system. I've been with 4 different directors of school, and it's just so much has changed over that time. I had just gotten married when I started working there. We had been married just a few months. I used to work for the Tennessean, and I decided that I needed something that was going to be more suitable for trying to raise a family.
Sure.
And so at the time I thought the hours would be better at the school system, and I think now I work probably more hours than I did at the newspaper, but that comes with it. But we now have, my wife Adrian and I have 3 boys who they're all coming up through the school system, so I get to see the benefits of what we're doing with the school district. And my oldest is 16, and he's a 4.0 student at Central. I'm really proud of all the hard work he's put into it. He runs cross country. My middle son, Samuel, is starting Siegel Middle this year. He also made the cross-country team, and he had practice this morning. He's really liking it. And then our youngest, who was our bonus baby, we hadn't planned on having a 3rd child, but we did, and he's definitely our most challenging. But he is going into 4th grade at campus school, and thinks he's a pro sports player at every sport that he tries.
Sure.
That's just, we have a really busy life, but we enjoy it.
You do realize that boys are quite a bit more expensive to insure than girls, right?
We are paying the insurance for my son's car right now. Actually, he has to pay his insurance, but he came to me and said, can we try to find me some cheaper insurance? This is killing me. And I was like, yeah, now you understand, because we paid it the first few months, and once he started doing some work, then he's now paying for the insurance.
It's quite the wake-up call. It's almost like peeking over the fence into adulthood, isn't
Yeah,
it?
absolutely. So that's one of the things that we work on in the home is, talking about how to budget and plan and those kinds of things. And so he knows that his big expense every month is that insurance, and he's asked me several times to look at some different options and for him, so he could find some cheaper insurance. And I was like, this is the cheapest we could find. Trust me, we got some good insurance for you, but it's not cheap.
And of course, that's what Rick and I have done for years, and cheap is not always best. So I should call you up and ask for the friends and family discount and see what we can find there. So Rick will be happy to talk to you.
Yeah.
Before we started on air, you talked a little bit about enhancing your educational experience too, and I think that's pretty cool. You're certainly not old like me, but you're certainly not a spring chicken either. So
yeah, people used to meet me and say, "Oh, I didn't think you were that young," and they don't say that anymore. I don't know what's changed, but yeah, being in your mid-40s, I guess that's it. But yeah, so Murfreesboro, what brought us here? My wife moved here from Kansas for MTSU. I came here from a little town called Pegram, which is in Cheatham County, about an hour from here. It's where my dad lives now. MTSU is what brought us here and where we met. And we fell in love with this county like so many people have, and wanted to stay here and raise our family here. So I did my bachelor's degree at MTSU. And then I caught the bug about 6 months ago and started saying, I'm ready to go do my master's. And my wife's like, why? And so here we go. So in talking with the university and some of the leadership over there in the School of Journalism, I'm also going to get the opportunity to teach a course this fall, an online course, because I can't do it because of my schedule with the school district like a normal way. But that's okay because I'm taking most of my classes online too. So starting that in August, I met with my advisor last week.
I think you probably have a little competition with the boys now, that since you're getting actual grades and they get actual grades, so I guess that's been somewhat of a competition.
Yeah, so we've had the conversation before, like a lot of families do, that hey, Dad, C is an A or C is average, and I was like, well, we're not average, okay? You guys are better than average, and so I said we aim for A's. That's kind of the rule in our house. I say it to them all the time. We aim for A's, and if you miss, then you get a B, but you're aiming for an A. And they have now started using that saying against me. My oldest has already reminded me, so you're starting school this fall. Remember, Dad, we aim for A's. And so I was like, yes. So I guess we'll all be sharing report cards at the dinner table, including mine. So
I love that. So Is there a reward system in the household for A's?
What we typically do is if they land the ship, if they finish the year with mostly A's, my oldest son has had all A's. My other two have had a couple of B's. We try to just give them something that we know they really want. Maybe they didn't even ask for it. So, for example, my oldest son, well, really all three of my sons, they love to play basketball in the driveway. And we had this old basketball goal in the driveway that was there when we bought this house 7 years ago. The previous owners just left it. It was in ratty shape when they left it, and our boys have made it even worse. The wind's blown it over a few times. The hoop's not really a circle anymore.
Sure.
It's more of an oval. And so we are getting a new basketball goal.
Oh, cool.
And they're very excited about that. So.
That is good. Maybe they pick up some additional chores to reward Dad for his A's.
Yeah, I doubt that very seriously. But I'm hoping one day when they make it big, maybe they'll help buy their mom and I a new car or something, like Elvis did for his mom. That's
pretty cool. There's so much going on in Rutherford County, with projects and projected new schools and additions. Would you like to talk about that for a little while?
Yeah. So what's amazing was Dr. Sullivan, our director of schools, sent this to us earlier, the leadership team and the school board, that just said over the past 28 months we have secured funding for 4 high school additions, a new elementary school, and a new middle school. And that is just, the county commission and the school board should be commended, because that's almost 30 elected officials working together. They don't always agree, as we've seen,
sure,
which is fine. That's their prerogative. But on this, they understand the need is there. It takes a ton of coordination and collaboration in order to secure that funding, make sure that we can afford it, and not adding too much to the debt service, all those kinds of things, because they know how quickly we're growing. So they really should be commended. And there's countless staff members and employees behind the scenes, crunching numbers, doing things to cut budgets, all those kinds of things. So the county mayor announced a few days ago that the county has maintained its AAA bond rating. All those are huge accomplishments in this kind of environment when we're also having to pay for so much stuff. So we have Poplar Hill Elementary School, which is nearly complete. Move-in day for the staff is in less than 2 weeks. Then we're having a ribbon cutting for it officially on August 1st. They'll spend the month of July just doing all the last-minute things and moving in and setting up.
Watch out list.
Yeah, absolutely. Then we have the new addition that opened up at Smyrna High School back in January. It finished ahead of schedule. Oakland and Riverdale, their additions are coming online. They'll be opening here in August. There's a few things that will still be finished on that, but they'll be phasing those in over the first part of the school year. And then we have funding for Poplar Hill Middle School, which is set to open next August, and an addition at Laverne High School, which is going to be starting pretty soon. So lots of things happening. And 28 months is not a lot of time when you're talking about that's securing the funding, bond markets, getting the construction started. The county commission approved the funding for Poplar Hill Middle School on a Thursday evening, and that next morning in the dark, dirt was moving. The contractors were already, because they knew we're on a timeline. As soon as the funding got approval, they were out there before the chickens were crowing.
So Poplar Hill Middle School, how large will that facility be?
I don't have the exact square footage, but it's on. I think it's 160,000 square feet.
Will that be for 1,000 or?
So they're 50? Built for 1,000 to 1,200 is what we aim for now. Students don't always come in perfect little packets of 20, but that's what the goal is.
Sure.
And then it will open, like I said, a year from now. So it's already under construction, of course, but it's out on the Beatty Farm property that we purchased. The elementary school looks incredible already, and the middle school is just going to be a great addition to that community.
So right now we have Blackman Middle and I think Oakland Middle that were expanded to hold 1,500, but I think Blackman Middle is even more than that.
Blackman Middle is larger than many high schools in the state. They were closing in between 1,700 and 1,800 at their highest point. But yeah, we added on an annex at Blackman Middle, at Oakland Middle, and at Laverne Middle to help with growth in those areas. The largest growth that we're seeing, of course, is along the I-24 corridor and also 840 now, Veterans Parkway, things like that. And so that's where we're seeing a lot of the growth. We get asked all the time, when are we going to get a school at this area, and we may already own land there. We've got that land there for potential for the future, but the board really has to prioritize where is the growth happening, at the quickest, and which type of facility, an addition or a new school or whatever, would benefit the most. The board will be looking at in July the next 5-year plan. We have a 5-year building plan that we have in place that usually is reviewed every year because growth changes so much, and then tweaks and adjustments are made.
And it has for the last 20 years.
Yeah, it's a moving target. Like you set a long-term goal,
yes, sir,
and then you fill in the gaps between there and between the 2 points. But it's constantly needing adjusting because of the growth.
So with the new countywide zoning, which using the outside entity to try to take out the politics and the accusation of favoritism, which I thought was brilliant. With the new facilities going online, how does that work?
So they work with us still, and really one of the advantages of using this outside firm, they specialize in zoning and planning for school districts all over the country.
Yes, sir.
They're based out of Kansas, the Kansas area, Olathe. It's a fresh set of eyes, because sometimes when you stare at the same problem, the same groups of people year after year, you miss things.
Yes, sir.
And they also took, like you said, a county-wide look at it, everything, all the infrastructure, and then they also got, of course, local input, so that it wasn't just an outside entity making the decisions, but giving us that fresh perspective was so valuable. But they continue to work with us. So when we have we had some zoning tweaks this year for the new high school additions that are opening, they were brought in again to say, okay, we've seen this growth change since the last plan we did 2 years ago. What do you think we should do here? And they gave us some options to look at. And then our board takes that by review and then adopts whatever they're going to adopt. You try not to let politics get into it, of course.
Sure.
But there are some factors you have to look at with balancing demographics and those kinds of things, so that you're not giving one school a massive advantage over another.
Sure.
That's part of it. That's just planning for demographics and for future performance.
As far as with the Stewart's Creek and Rockvale, they were just brand new state-of-the-art high schools. With the additions to Riverdale, Oakland, Smyrna, and soon Laverne, what will be some of the items within those footprints that will bring them up to par with your Rockvale and your Stewart's Creek? I think an amphitheater was probably the thing that I remember the most.
Well, so Smyrna High School, we'll start there because Riverdale and Oakland are very similar, of course, in their footprint. But Smyrna High School, we added 96,000 square feet, and that included cafeteria renovation, because a lot of these older schools, and they're not even that old, really. If you look at buildings, they're not that old. But hallways were smaller then. The newer schools have wider hallways to help with the flow of bodies and traffic. But cafeteria renovation was one. A dance studio at Smyrna High, because they have a dance program there that comes from Thurman Francis. They needed that in the program.
Sure.
Various career and technical education programs. That's your welding, your broadcast labs, all those kinds of things. Of course, classrooms. And then they added on a lecture hall, which is something that the newer high schools have. Like you would see on a college campus, that some of the older schools didn't necessarily have, or they had a very small one. It was $38.2 million for that, which was a great price considering what it costs to build these days. And we did that ribbon cutting in January. Now, Oakland and Riverdale, as people who've attended those schools or have children who attend those schools know, it's what's known as an open campus. There are multiple buildings, courtyards. You have to leave one building to get to another one. There may be a covered crosswalk, but it's different than being inside an enclosed classroom or hallway. They're not as secure, so you're talking about safety.
Sure.
They're obviously not as weatherproof, so if it's snowing or raining or any of those kinds of things, if it's cold outside, the kids are walking out in that. The new additions, one of the goals in which is being accomplished is those campuses are being fully enclosed. So the buildings will all be connected. You'll probably notice at Oakland and Riverdale, one of the things that people notice the most, that there's now this sky bridge hallway that goes across and connects the main building to the annex building, so that it's on the second floor. And
I had no idea.
It's amazing. And
That's
it
cool.
also, the traffic goes under that. You can drive under it, but there's also now a gate that will make it secure, so once the kids are in for the day, they can close that gate and people can't get back to that part of the campus. It's really going to help with security. And we always hear from students when it gets cold outside, when it gets below freezing, that we should close schools because kids love closing schools. Trust me, I hear that a lot. But they want us to close because it's cold outside, and they're having to walk out in the weather where other schools don't necessarily have to do that. So those are some of the things you're going to see that'll be really immediately noticed.
And I understand their complaints because, they got to go back to their locker. They got to get books. They got to get jacket, and they go, and they just got to lug it around. And I understand. That's inconvenient for them as well.
Yeah, but these are massive schools now. 2,500 students will be the capacity, but they're going to be incredible. And they're also getting new auditoriums and all those things too.
That's pretty cool. Looks like we're knocking up against our first break. Again this morning, Mr. James Evans, who is the Chief Communications Officer for the Rutherford County School System, and we'll be back in just a moment.
When the weather turns bad, minutes, even seconds matter.
This is an early heads up for southern Rutherford County.
Rutherford Weather brings you live radar and expert meteorologist insight, giving you the early heads up when storms threaten.
A lot of areas are going to see some impacts from this storm.
From analysis to live camera views, we keep you informed before, during, and after the storm.
I think the vast majority of the hail with this now is going to be quarter to perhaps golf ball size.
Rutherford Weather. Stay ahead of the storm.
Hey guys, it's Taylor with Bell Jewelers. When I have customers come in, they have pieces of jewelry that have just sat in their jewelry box for years and years. But my question to them is why? Why are you not wearing it? 99% of the time it's because they don't like the style of it anymore. You have the diamonds to work with. Remake a piece of jewelry into a style that you'll wear. So come see us at Bell Jewelers, 821 Northwest Broad Street, across from Toots.
This Father's Day, visit Boot Barn for top quality gifts that pay tribute to the lasting heritage of the West. From handcrafted cowboy boots and American-made felt hats to durable jeans and outdoor gear, our in-store experts can guide you as you shop, assisting with boot sizing and helping you navigate the store so you can find the perfect gift. Share a piece of the American spirit with him this Father's Day. Boot Barn, unwrap the West.
We're visiting with Jennifer Sanchez, manager of Steered Straight 2 Furniture and Thrift at 1007 Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard.
You're not just walking into just a big warehouse. You're walking into rooms. We've got a media room, we've got a boutique room, we've got a vintage room, a furniture area, kitchen, all that.
Steered Straight 2 Furniture and Thrift.
Every day you go in there, I promise you it's changing.
Steered Straight 2 Furniture and Thrift, 1007 Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. Online at steeredstraightthriftstore.org.
Good Neighbor Events is brought to you by America Pest Control, Old National Bank, and the law offices of John Day.
This is a paid legal ad.
When a family member is lost as a result of someone else's negligence, the grief can be unbearable. It also leaves you with a lot of questions like, how did this happen? Who's responsible? And is my family going to be okay? That's a lot to go through, but with the law offices of John Day on your side, you don't have to go through any of it alone. We understand what you're going through, and we have the experience to get the answers, justice, and compensation your family deserves. Call the law offices of John Day.
Especially during the summer fun months, WGNS encourages you to shop local. Let's patronize our local family businesses. Would you like to get fit? Zumba and yoga classes are underway at SportsCom. Plus, metabolic burn as well as Tai Chi and yoga classes are at the Patterson Community Center. Don't forget, the 17th annual Boats Day is Saturday, June 21st. That's not this week, that's next week over at Jefferson Springs Recreation Area in Smyrna. That's Saturday, June 21st, and walk-ups are welcome. Here's something that is this weekend. Don't miss the Juneteenth celebration, 10 until 4 Saturday at Bradley Academy Museum and Cultural Center. We're still critically low on blood. Please give the gift of life to the Red Cross. Make an appointment to give blood at a time that fits your schedule. Maybe you're being challenged by a new smartphone. Head over to a branch of the Rutherford County Library System. There's someone there who'll help you, and it's free. Those are WGNS Good Neighbor events.
Rutherford weather.
Periods of showers and thunderstorms here for this afternoon with cloudy skies, a high in the mid-80s. Tonight, chance for rain and storms, a low near 71. I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki on News Radio WGNS. Currently, it's 75.
WGNS powered by Middle Tennessee Electric. Looking to go solar? MTE's Pro Solar program is committed to educating members on the process and helping them achieve their renewable energy goals. Learn more about Pro Solar and your free consultation at mte.com/prosolar.
This is the Roundtable from News Radio WGNS on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna. Listen and watch at wgnsradio.com.
And welcome back to the second segment, of Tuesday Mornings with Rick and Wayne. Brother Rick is not here today, but he'll be back with us next week. Certainly our pleasure and honor to have Mr. James Evans, who's the Chief Communications Officer for Rutherford County Schools, and talking about various subjects this morning. I think we were going to go into the area of schools security.
Absolutely. So, if you're a parent and you don't feel like your kids are secure at school, that they're safe at school, that cancels out everything else. If kids don't feel safe, they're not going to be focused on learning. And so we've always put a large focus on improving our security, and that goes back to well before my time, when the sheriff's office and the school system did the first school resource officer program in the state of Tennessee.
Yes, sir.
And so that was, early 90s. Of course, it's grown from there. We are so proud of that partnership and just the training that we do. I'm actually doing an interview this afternoon with the sheriff because we're doing a safety video that goes into our training that we do with employees when they come back in August. We want them to understand that we have a very close relationship. There's been a time I go on a camping trip every November with a bunch of guys, and was sitting around a fire in the middle of nowhere on top of this place called Nunley Mountain. And I got a phone call, and it was from Sheriff Fitzhugh. And he had a question that was something we were dealing with, and we took care of it, and everything was great. And I hung up, and the fellow said, "Well, who was that?" And I was like, "Well, this is kind of embarrassing to say. It sounds like I'm bragging or name dropping, but that was Sheriff Fitzhugh." And they're like, "He just calls you?" I said, "Not very often, but when he does, I answer the phone." So, we all know each other well and work together and know that we are just a phone call away at any moment. And so
I would
that's
answer
great.
his call as well.
Absolutely. So Lisa Marchesoni is my counterpart over there. We spoke yesterday about something. We talk all the time. So that partnership is so valuable. We have something new that we're going to be doing this year, and we're really excited about it. But we are deploying weapons detection systems at every school, K through 12. And so these are not your traditional metal detectors. These are like the ones you see when you go to a concert venue or when you go to Disney World or the Titans game or anything like that. You walk through them, a mass crowd walks through them, one by one, but they move very quickly. And it's looking for metal, but certain densities of metal. And so it can help alert them immediately if there's something that could be a weapon. And then, of course, when that goes off, they get pulled to the side and there's a wand and some additional screening. But we want to make sure that there are not guns being brought into our schools. And so starting this year, we'll have these in all of our schools. We were able to pay for it. This was really neat. We got a bonus from the state. We were one of only 2 school districts in the state of Tennessee that had more than 30 schools that received an A, a letter grade of A on the state report card. So us and Williamson County are the only 2 districts that got this. So we received a $4 million bonus that we were not expecting, of course. And so our board looked at different ways of spending it. About one of the ways was investing in this system. It's called Open Gate. It's what they use at MTSU when you go to a basketball game at Murphy Center. But it's basically 2 poles that are so many inches apart that people walk through as they're coming in. And those will be deployed. They're on order now. They're coming in. They'll be deployed at all schools, K-12, starting this school year.
I like that system because I remember going to a game not long ago, and I had, of course, car keys and my cell phone, but I had for my reading glasses, I had a metal case, and and it picked up the case.
Right.
I thought, how cool is that? That wasn't worried about the cell phone or the keys, but it pulled me out of line to get wanded because of the glass case.
Yeah, we've been to the demonstrations. MTSU, of course, loves their system. We're using the same type. We tested a different system, but ended up going with this one. But you can set the sensitivity to the density that you're looking for, and so they even told us that if we wanted to search for vapes, we could do that. But of course, that's not it's a priority, but it's not the top priority.
Sure.
Weapons is what we're aiming to remove from campus, make sure they're not coming in campus. We all have heard of school shootings happening. It's not just public schools. I mean, of course, the one in Nashville was a private school, that tragedy. We want to be the tip of the sword on this one. We want to show everyone how secure our schools are and hopefully keep those kinds of bad actions out of our schools. We've had occasional issues with a gun here or there. It's terrifying as a parent, of course, when we have to do those, and we understand why. And so this, we feel like, is a good investment just to ensure that those things are not being brought into our schools. Visitors will be screened too. So everyone coming in the school will be screened.
And does every school have the reader where you put the driver's license through and it tells if there's something in their background?
Right. So that's the Raptor system. That's our visitor management system.
Yes, sir.
If I don't have my badge on, or if I go into one of my kids' schools and I'm not there as an employee, they make me do it too. That's been a joke sometimes. They're like, Mr.
funny.
Evans, are you here as a parent or as an employee? And I'll say a parent. They're like, great, I need your driver's license. And they'll scan it. Even though my badge will open every door in the building,
Yes,
I still have to be scanned. So that's been good too. And it's just a deterrent. We've had very few cases where we've actually found something in someone's background where they're on the sex offender registry or whatever. There's been a few, and it flags them immediately. Everyone's notified as soon as it hits. But it's people know. I don't even need to attempt that because they're going to catch me if I do. And that's really, the way you can look at a weapons detection system is it because we're having issues with security that we need them, or is it because we're trying to prevent issues with security, and that's why we want them? And that's what it is. When I go to Disney World, which has been once, and I've had my fill, and I won't be going back. But when I went, at least I knew I didn't have to worry about a gunman pulling out a gun on those kinds of things. I felt better going into that. When I went to Murphy Center to watch the boys playing the NIT a few months ago, I noticed as I was walking through, that's the same system we're deploying, and it was very quick. People went through very quickly. It doesn't really slow you down, but I know we've all seen bad actors before who are looking for what they call soft targets, which would be places where lots of people are that are not secure, and we want to make sure we are not a soft target. And so we're really looking forward to this rolling out. It'll be rolling out not the first day of school because it's a new system, but it'll be phased in very quickly over the first couple of weeks of school.
And I like the buzzing system too, that once school starts, they're just not willy-nilly coming in and out. Somebody has to see your face, and I presume you put your driver's license up sometimes, to enter the building.
Well, yeah, and some of our schools now, they've got it set up where you can scan a QR code if you're picking up a child or whatever, and just say who you're there to get. And if it's not bad weather outside, you don't even need to come into the school. They'll say, we'll have so-and-so out to you in just a second, and they just come out front, and they can do it all that way. And the parents, for the most part, have told us they like it because it's faster. There is a humor story that I had a grandparent, I'm not going to say which school.
Okay.
She did not know what a QR code was, which is understandable. My parents wouldn't necessarily know what that is either, or how to scan it with a smartphone.
Well, I know what it is, but I'm not sure how I could use it as well.
Well, it's pretty simple. I'll help you out.
Okay.
So you just pull out your camera and you scan it, and it pulls up a form or a web page, and you just fill out whatever information you need and hit OK, and it's an electronic form. They've been around for obviously more than a decade, but they've become very mainstream for the most part. But I did have a grandparent who reached out to me, and she just said, I don't know what this box is with these black and white squiggly lines, but I'm just here to get my grandkid, and this is ridiculous, and was very upset about it. And I called the principal, who said, I will go out right now and meet her personally, and did, and explained it. And then they all had a good laugh about it, the grandparent too, once they figured out what it was. But she didn't know what it was. She had a flip phone, and that's fine. And she's like, I'm just here to get my grandkid. It shouldn't be this hard. But it's also a security issue.
Sure.
So, there's a flip side to both ends. But it's, for the most part, it's working well.
Well, academics and safety, they both have to be priorities, top priorities.
Well, and there's things too, simple things like, just protecting information. You know, we have parents sometimes reach out and will email us and say, hey, I can't get into my kid's Skyward account. That's the online report cards and things. Can you just let me know what my kid's grades are? Well, I don't know who you are through email, and of course I can't just send you information. And so it can be a little frustrating because you're just trying to get information, but we also have to try to safeguard that too.
Certainly.
So there is definitely a balancing act. But, you know, as we get larger, this will blow your mind. So we're the 4th largest school district in Tennessee. We've been that for a few years.
Even without the Murfreesboro City Schools.
If city schools were combined with us, we would be larger than Knox County schools. Let that sink in for a minute. We would be larger than Knoxville.
That is
unbelievable. We are behind Nashville, and Shelby County, which is Memphis. We're the 3rd, actually. I'm sorry, I said 4th. We're 3rd. I'm sorry, Knox County is 3rd. We would be 4th. If we had city schools too, we would be 3rd.
Right.
But here's the national rankings, and our director looks at this every year. We are now the 83rd largest in the country.
In the nation.
In the nation. So that we were in the top 100 a couple of years ago. We broke the top 100. Now we have broken, like I said, almost top 75%, but we are 83 as of the end of this school year.
So our student population presently is 50 plus?
52 plus, actually. So we have 51 schools. We're opening our 52nd in August. That's Poplar Hill Elementary, and we have just over 52,000. We will probably inch very close to 53, if not surpass 53 this year. So, and just incredible. When I started, it was about 28,000. We're growing a lot.
And the school board budget is quickly approaching $1 billion.
No, we're around 600,000 for the operating budget.
Maybe it's the county that's close
if
to
you add in, we have various budgets. So you have your federal programs budget, you have your cafeteria budget. Those things are our building program. If you add all that together, yes, it gets up there. But proportionally, we are still very much.
Just right under 3/4.
When you rank us, as far as per pupil spending in the state. There are about 140 school districts, and we rank about 125 for per pupil. That doesn't include your capital project, which I said earlier, we're so proud of our county leaders for having the foresight to invest in those things. But just in per pupil operating expenses, we're at the bottom. But we're doing more with that. We, for a long time, through several directors, but especially with Director of Schools Jimmy Sullivan, we are stretching every dollar, getting our money's worth.
Well, and I'm confident that the elected officials of the commission and the school board, they're appreciative of the bang that they get for their buck.
I think so. I think they know that they see how tightly we monitor things. And the results that we're getting, we are one of the lowest funded as far as per pupil, but one of the highest performing for academics in the state, which is what I said earlier led to that bonus that we received. That one felt really good, and we got it on St. Patrick's Day, and so with the headline that we put out that day when we announced it was that we had received our own pot of gold. So, and it was basically it's a performance bonus. We had done so well that the state said you get an extra $4 million, us and Williamson County.
And what's amazing with that is the diversity within this community system. Somewhere approaching 100 different languages.
Yeah, our ESL program, and it's not just people always assume it's Hispanic families and Spanish and Arabic are our 2 largest languages that we serve other than English, but we have a variety. I mean, like you said, nearly 100 languages that we are supporting, ranging from Japanese and some other Middle Eastern or some Middle Eastern dialects. There's just a ton of language support that we have to offer. People are moving here from everywhere, and Tennessee is a very popular place, and we know why.
Dr. Sutherland has been on a couple of times, the principal at Smyrna High School, and I believe her phone has several apps of different translating opportunities, just because some of the children that walk in are not proficient.
Yeah, and we've got some real success stories that we've seen several years ago. We had a young lady at Smyrna Elementary School who moved here in the 1st grade from, I think it was Thailand, did not speak any English. And at the time, Trey Duke, who is now director of schools for city schools, he was the principal there, and she told me this story. She was in 4th grade when I was interviewing her, that it was like what you see when we watch the Peanuts, Charlie Brown, the way the adults talk. She had no idea what anyone was saying.
Poor thing.
But in 4th grade, she had not only mastered the English language through our programs and just being immersed in it, but she was also being elected the student body president for the school. She had come from someone who did not know what anyone was saying to being the student leader of that building. And it's just such a success story. And she's probably graduated now. That makes me feel old. But Molo was her name. And she just, not only did she learn the language, she became the one in the school helping all of her other immigrant students learn the language too. Right. She was that type of student. So that's just one of many examples.
What a great story. Thanks for sharing that this morning. This is so cool. So looks like we're heading to our last break. And this morning, Mr. James Evans, who is the Chief Communications Officer for the Rutherford County School System, has been with us and has shared a lot of information, things that I didn't even know. And we're going to take a second break and be right back.
Do you love WGNS Radio? Well, now you can watch it too. WGNS Big GTV brings your favorite radio shows live and on demand. From breaking news and community talk to Rutherford County's top local sports. We've got it all right at your fingertips. Watch anytime, anywhere. WGNS Big GTV, where radio comes to life.
Available in all states. Do you have over $10,000 in credit card debt? If you're feeling the financial impact with unprecedented economic challenges, DebtBlue is here for you. With DebtBlue's Success Guarantee, you pay nothing unless your debt is reduced or completely resolved.
I'm just living sky high right now. I'm very thankful for it, and the team at DebtBlue are phenomenal. They're able to work with you. They're great.
Call for your free debt resolution information now. 800-200-6895. 800-200-6895.
This is Chip Walters, and I'm honored to be your 2024 MTAR Realtor of the Year. I'm with Exit Realty Bob Lamb & Associates, and like many of you, I've seen the real estate market shift and change. People often ask, Chip, what's really going on? Well, that's a great question, and I believe in answering with solid, factual data. So let's cut through some of the noise. I invite you to reach out. Let's have a conversation about your real estate goals and the current market trends in your neighborhood. You can find all my contact information at choosechip.net.
Here at the Almond Joy Factory, where tropical vibes abound, we use soft, fresh-tasting coconut.
The crunchiest almonds and delicious chocolate candy.
Ah, but do you know what our most important ingredient is? Sometimes you feel like a nut.
Sometimes you don't.
Almond Joy's got nuts and something even way better than that. Yes, Almond Joy is made with almonds and joy.
Something amazing is happening at work. Innovative tools are helping people do better work. That's because CDW configuration specialists are multiplying productivity with Microsoft Windows 11 Pro Surface devices. Built-in security, flexibility, and simplified management streamline tasks so your team can get more done. Microsoft and CDW make amazing happen. Learn more at cdw.com/surface.
This is the Roundtable from News Radio WGNS on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna. Listen and watch at wgnsradio.com.
And welcome back to the third and final segment of Tuesday Mornings with Rick and Wayne. And again, Brother Rick will be back next weekend, but we've had a great time this morning catching up with Mr. James Evans, the Chief Communications Officer for the Rutherford County School Systems. And although I feel like I know quite a bit about our school system, I've learned some new things this morning as well. And
things you didn't want to know, for sure, I'm sure.
Well, no, I'm grateful for the knowledge. Do you want to talk about what's going on this summer?
Absolutely. So I get asked this question all the time. You must have your summers off, or you guys don't do anything during the summer. And ironically, the first year that I worked for the school district was back in, it would have been 05 at that summer. But my dad called me and said, "Hey, what are you doing this summer?" And I said, "Well, Dad, I'm working. Why?" And he said, "Oh, I thought that you got out in May like the teachers do." And I said, No, I'm a 12-month employee. But I said, "What is it you want me to help you with?" He lives about an hour from here. And he said, "Well, I was hoping you'd come down and work with me every day and help me clean up this place." He has 10 acres of, well, he could be Sanford and Son, just 10 acres of junk.
Okay.
And I laughed and said, even if I had my summer off, that would not be what I would want to do every day. I would give you a couple of days, but not that. But I still get that question. Do you get any time off during the summer or whatever? And there is some of that, of course. We are encouraged to recharge and those things so that we don't burn out. It's very true that you can burn out doing this. The district office switches to a 4-day schedule.
I was getting ready to ask you if that was going to happen.
We started that back during the housing crisis in like 08 because gas prices got so high back then that Director of Schools Harry Gill said, "Well, we'll try to find a way to cut down on some of this, not only for our employees but also our maintenance department."
Sure.
And so we work 4 10s. Many of us already work 10-hour days anyway, so it's like we get Fridays off. So that's for a few weeks. That's nice. Those 3-day weekends really helps you get your yard work done on Friday, and then you can hopefully enjoy your weekend.
Sure.
But a ton of things happen during the summer. Ever since COVID, we do something in June. It's the summer camps for students who have had learning loss. We're still doing that. It's a free extended school, basically. It's summer school. But we did a good job of naming it summer camp because my kids have gone through it and they said, we get to go to camp. It's different than hearing I have to go to summer school.
Right,
but it's about a half-day school. It's from 7 to 1:30 in the afternoons during the month of June. So we've got lots of elementary students doing that this year at different locations, just getting some reinforcement, helping with the summer slide, the learning loss during the summer, but just helping them get back on track. My rising sixth grader, he was in kindergarten when COVID hit, so there's still that bubble in the system that we're working out.
Right.
There's also a ton of training going on. Today, for example, out at Siegel High School, superintendents from all over the state are here to learn about TVOS. TVOS is the state system for measuring student growth. It's an acronym that stands for something that I won't bore you with, but they get training of that throughout the year and how to apply that in their districts. Achievement is one thing. We want to see students be high achievers, but we also want to see them grow wherever they start because they come to us from all over the place, different schools, different states. Wherever they were when they got here, we want to see them grow by at least one academic year worth of skills and knowledge, if not more than that.
Mm-hmm.
And we have incredible high scores for growth here. And so Richard Zago, when he worked, he talked to us about it was like going around a track if you're running track. Wherever they start, we want to make sure they get all the way back around and hopefully a little bit more. And that helps them grow, and then their achievement goes up based on their growth. And so that's what TVOS is. I know that's a bunch of jargon, but it's an important topic that our teachers know backward and forward, and they're out learning about that today. In July, right after July 4th week, it really kicks in. We have our summer summit where we train 1,000 of our teachers. We bring in national speakers and trainers, experts in education, to train our teachers. It's cheaper to do that than to send our teachers out to wherever they are. And so we've been doing that for many years. We have, of course, new teachers coming on, and Mr. Gill told me when he started teaching, they handed him the teacher's version of the textbook, pointed him to his classroom and said, "We'll see you at Christmas." And that was all the training you got. And so he said, all those things that new teachers need, we do something called ASSIST, and that stands for something too because we love acronyms. But ASSIST is really, it's a mentor program. It's a 2-day training that helps new teachers get acclimated to all the things that they're going to be experiencing in Rutherford County, the ins and outs, even things as simple as when do we get paid and how do I, file insurance or take a sick day, all those kinds of things. They learn all those ins and outs, but also they learn classroom management from other veteran teachers. And then they're also assigned and mentored up with people that they work with throughout the year. But that's something we've been doing. And when we're competing for teachers out there, because there are lots of places trying to hire new teachers, they want those things. They want to know that they've got career support, growth opportunities, all those things. And so that's one of the reasons we hear again and again they choose Rutherford County. We have good pay. We're not the highest, but we're in the top tier. We're trying to improve that every year. But it's those other fringe benefits and resources that we have that really attract them here.
I would think that would be terrifying, even though you accomplish your student teaching, but to walk into a classroom that's all yours, and then you're responsible and accountable for its performance, without the support, again, that would be terrifying to me, I would think.
I have buddies that are scared of their own children. When their wife leaves and they're left at home with 2 or 3 kids, they're like, I just have to keep these children alive for the next hour. Imagine if that was you walking in with other people's children.
Right.
Not only you're responsible for their safe being, but also them learning, them growing. Right. You're the person that's shepherding that ship, and it's just, that's a lot of pressure.
Well, and everybody learns differently.
Absolutely.
And trying to keep the top interested and the bottom portion of the class engaged.
Well, what I find amazing with teachers is that they start over from zero every year. Typically, it's new students that they've never seen before.
Sure.
And they become these families throughout the year. We had a teacher describe when a teacher says, my kids, they're talking about their class. They become a little family.
Right.
But it starts over every August. One of my favorite kindergarten teachers, Miss Flowers, out of campus school, she's just an incredible, legendary kindergarten teacher. And she's like, every year I get 20 new ones. And you start over. And it's like you're almost fostering those children for a year. And then you get another set. And just over and over for 30-plus years. That's an incredible talent and gift to have.
Oh, yeah.
So,
no doubt.
For sure. But a lot of training goes on during the summer, of course. Our principals had their last meeting as a group with us last week, and then they're wrapping up some things, and they'll get a couple of weeks off. And we hope they are doing fun things and traveling and recharging, all those things, so they get that reset, the closure of 1 year before the next one hits. But it does really bleed. I have a planning board in my office that my team uses. It already has September on it. I mean, we're already looking that far ahead, and the schools do that too. When you're thinking about May and graduations, they're already thinking about August and the first day of school and what they need. They really always have 2 feet in every school year.
How about kudos to all these administrators that have dealt with these expansions? That's got to be so tough to manage these huge student populations and the construction and the I can't imagine doing that. And
it's like being on a college campus sometimes, especially when you have these multiple buildings and you're trying to work around construction crews. I was at Riverdale one day this year and needed to go over to the annex for something, and so one of the AP says, okay, I hope you brought your walking shoes, let's go. And she grabbed her radio and we started walking, and you had to literally go out the side door on one side of the campus, walk around the entire perimeter of the building to get into the other building. It was a 12-minute walk. I mean,
well, and I remember when Smyrna Middle School, which is my old high school,
sure,
when it was being renovated in the addition, there was not a consistent entrance or exit.
And they did have a gravel kind of sidewalk that went between the two areas of the building. But it's a lot like when you go to the large cities like New York or Chicago and you see the scaffolding and the constant state of construction, and you just learn to live with it.
Yes, sir.
The students and the kids and all that, they do the same thing.
They're resilient, aren't they?
Absolutely. And just incredible what they – and they're still accomplishing great things when that happens. One last thing I want to tell you about this year that I'm excited about is that we're known for our career and technical education programs. That's things like welding and dentistry and mechatronics and aviation and all those things that we have. We will have some industry career and technical education trailers this year that are like you hook up to like a big rig, right, that will drive around to different schools. We're getting, I think, 3 of them this year. It may be 4, but I know we're starting with 3 that we were able to pay for with a federal grant, where we can take some of these opportunities on the road to different high schools so that if you don't have the program at your school, you can still experience it. To my knowledge, we're going to be the first in this area that has that, and that's because of Tyra Pilgrim leads that program with Brian Lewis and some others, and just the investment that we've put in those things. We had 43 kids this year graduate at Laverne High School. They graduated from Motlow with an associate's degree the week before they actually had their high school graduation.
Right.
That's one of many examples of opportunities we're giving high school students before they even graduate high school. They are walking out career ready to go work if they want to, and they can either continue with some sort of training or higher education, or they can start in the industry And a lot of times the companies will then pay for them to go back to get advanced training on top of that. Yep. So it's just amazing. I know a young lady, I saw her just this weekend, family friend. She did this and did some nursing programs at Siegel, and then went into the Tennessee Promise program, went to Motlow. She had her pinning ceremony a few weeks ago and is working full-time as a nurse. She's barely 21. I mean, she did all of this. It's just incredible. She is just set up for life and plans to continue her education, but she's already working and being a productive citizen and talking about families and those kinds of things. It's just incredible what students have these days.
Yeah, I mean, all the world's an open door for her because NP, PA, nurse anesthetist, just whatever she wants to. Whatever she wants to
be
pursue.
A traveling nurse, she could see the country if she wanted to. Those kinds of opportunities.
It's just amazing. I'm so happy to see the career and technical program advance the way it has as well.
Yeah, we just want to make sure they have opportunities after high school, whether that's going to a 4-year university or jumping in the industry. They are ready for whatever is next, fully prepared, and so many different opportunities now.
God bless you, and thank you for being with us this morning. And I know Rick hated not getting to be here with you. You always share so much, and gosh, the show has just flown by this morning. Thank you.
I think he was worried that I was going to ask about car rate insurance for teenagers, and I was going to try to get a deal on the air, but we'll do that next time.
There you go. And again, thank you, everybody, for being with us today. Brother Rick will be back next week, and hope you have a great week, and maybe it'll dry up a little bit.